parents, um, your parents have started here, right? They started here. And then you say to yourself, your parents, they learned information, they got a college degree, or they worked, they got a business, and then the business went up, and then the business might have plateaued for a lot of them. I'm so concerned for the baby boomer. I'm so concerned for the retired people in their 65s, more concerned in history than ever, because most of them didn't evolve their business, what they did, how they did it. And now it's an unsellable asset for most of them. And they're a slave to, hopefully they got a big enough for, what's even a big enough 401k? You guys tell me. If you retire, let's just say someone retires at 65 and their 401k's $1 million. Okay. Let's say they got $1 million in their retirement fund and Social Security. Tell me in the chat bar, take a guess. What is life going to be with that for them at 85? Tell me what's going to happen at 85. What do you think? Pain and suffering. That's all there is. Pain and suffering. How could there not be? $1 million won't get them there. Social Security is not going to get them there. And who wants to bank on that anyway? And as life expectancies grow, the amount of money you got to have has to grow. So, but you have to consider looking at your parents' economic situation. Then you come down here, and I want you to examine your situation, your economic life. So you started, you graduated, you worked for somebody, you had a job, a job, a job, a job. Eventually, why did you go into business? Tell me in the chat bar. You hated your boss, you got laid off, you kept getting fired. What? You're a bad employee like me because you have too many opinions. Tell me in the chat bar. Why the hell? Okay, build a legacy. Yeah. What else? Why'd you guys go into business? Matt, that's believable for me. I could see that. Freedom, choice, and wealth, time and freedom. Well, if your boss gave you time and freedom, I had a credible boss. He died while I worked for him. I think if he was still alive, I would have never went into business. I would have stayed there forever. He was incredible, incredible guy. I love the guy. And then he died. Make my own way. Okay. So you look at that and then you start your company and you have your company. And then let's look what happened with your company and what period of cycle. What period of cycle, right? What period of cycle? And then how long have you been in that period of cycle? So this period of cycle is a cycle of your business, right? A cycle of your business. If we use the term a lot of people use, like winter, summer, spring, and fall, right? We could say you might be in a winter season. And that might be where you're little up, little down, but you're not breaking the milestone. You're not breaking the milestone, right? If you now examine the correlation between your parents' wealth and your economic cycle and their economic cycle, it's very rare that it's way above. It could be a little above, or it could actually be a little below. But it's kind of like I'm wearing this CGM meter, it measures my, your glucose because I'm always optimizing, which I didn't even look at it after lunch, but I look at it to see when I eat, what happens when I walk. And my wife and I, when you learn about glucose, it's not about people that are diabetic that that wear it, which was funny because the person, the doctor said, "Oh," or somebody said to me and my wife, they said, "Oh, I didn't know you were diabetic." I said, "I'm not." And then when I left, I told my wife, I'm like, isn't the point to have monitors so you don't become diabetic? Like if you're wearing the meter, you're fucking late. Do you guys agree? You're late. But on my Oura ring, it registers, it says between this range. And that's what we're looking at. What's the range? Now, I'll tell you that the flow of economic life that I found that's dangerous. What's on this page? Okay. This is a dangerous one because there's no time to reset. There's no time to reset. I believe planned resets into your life, into your business, into your wealth, into your health. You need, if you can do a planned reset, it will be by design instead of an unplanned reset, and then you get a reset by default. Did any of you get a reset by default in your business? Right? You're driving, then you're just like one day, bam, I'm done, I'm fatigued. Now, when you get a reset by default, it goes like this. You shrink way down. You shrink way down. Now, if you plan, here's what I like to do, and I like to do it. This applies to health, wealth, everything. I like to go like this, and then here, no dips, reset, foundational strengthen. My dad was a mason, so I grew up carrying bricks and mixing concrete. And I used to ask him as a kid, why do we put the metal? You guys know why you put the metal in the concrete? Reinforce the foundation, right? You guys know that. Reinforce the foundation. So you want to scale, reinforce the foundation. Now, for some of you, I took 1 year and I said, this is all we're going to focus on this year. No scale, only profit in the business. Okay. Another year in my personal wealth, I said, no wealth growth, only optimized taxes and interest. I just needed to solve that correlation. Whatever, write this down, whatever you don't solve can sometimes go unnoticed. Whatever you don't solve sometimes goes unnoticed. Are we tracking? Tell me tracking in the chart back. Remember, I expect you to sit the rest of today and tomorrow, sit and focus at the level of your desired wealth result. That's how I want you to sit. So you might choose a reset. Resets are okay. You know, the people that don't want to reset and they just want to keep going like this, that's the ego-driven ones. They're just so ego-driven, addicted-driven. They just keep going. But a lot of them, I think someone used, didn't he use Mike Tyson the other day? How much money did he lose? Like a lot, right? Never had a strengthening reset. Also, wealth without skill sets, right? What happens to the lottery winner? You guys tell me. You all say that it won't happen to you. I know what you say. You say to yourself, Mike, it won't happen to me. If I won $1 million, I would never lose it. But I promise you, there's all kinds of shit you probably decide to buy. All of a sudden, $1 million, let's change our house. $1 million, we start buying a little different. We start eating out more. $1 million, we don't fly first class. We got to fly private. And then in a couple of years, Aaron says supersizing his poutine. Then you're broke and you're forced into a reset. Except why are casinos so addictive? You're always chasing what? You're always chasing the next win. That's what you're doing. You're chasing. And when you win, I had an employee, he was up at Atlantic City. He was up $134,000. Do you want to know what happened? The end of the story? He was up 134,000. He left owing Atlantic City $10,000. Left owing him $10,000. Me, I don't gamble. I don't know how to do this stuff. But one time I played a game, I think it was called Let It Ride. I won like $800 and then I left. My business partner said, you can't, you don't leave. You keep playing to win more. I was like, no, I'm done. Won $800. That was good. Fucking, I'm done. He said, that's not how it works here. He said, that's not how it works. And well, it's how it works for me. So I enjoy going and watching human addiction and human behavior. So you don't want it. You want to have a planned reset. Some of you that are doing your business planning for next year might be just about a reset of customer satisfaction or infrastructure, right? For us, some of you have heard, who did put a question mark if you didn't hear about what we're doing with AI. I mean, we have we have business a business suite dashboard we're building that is just going to make so many things not on autopilot, on domination pilot for a business. So that's what I want through 2026. I want the highest level of technology and infrastructure built into the organization that I could pop it into any company we own or we serve so they can go kaboom, kaboom, just like that. And I believe that will take companies faster um, through these dips, right? Through those dips I was drawing. So if you were to share with me an awareness of an economic cycle that you had, what cycle do you have to break? Are you in a reset? Are you having to break a parent cycle? Are you having to break the complacency cycle? All of you are somewhere. All of you are somewhere. Where are you? I want take a guess. Doing all the above? Okay. Anybody else in the chat bar? Complacency cycle? Yeah. Yeah. Every time, Adrian, I get on with somebody and they want to work with me and they say, Mike, I'm doing pretty good. In my mind, I go, they're fucked. They're fucked. Complacency. Complacency. They've convinced themselves they're doing good because not because of what they have, because of the story of what they have. It's enough. It's enough for now, but it's not enough for the changing world. It's not enough for the changing world. Real estate's going to go up, rent's going to go up, food's going to go up. So whatever complacency somebody has, if it's not growing way faster, it's growing a hidden problem. I that's why I don't think you have a choice but to scale something unless you're waiting for an inheritance. Broke my parents' cycle and now working on my complacency. There you go. Yep. Let me see what else you got here. Complacency. Yep. Yep. Complacency. Yep. Overwhelm cycle. Yeah, and especially are people that are stuck in a cycle of reinvention, right? Midlife crisis. You know what a midlife crisis is? I figured it out. It's the day you're tired of lying to the people you cared about, and you no longer care if you lie to them. That's what a midlife crisis is. You no longer care if you upset them because you always wanted a tattoo and a Corvette and a chain wallet, and you turn around and just say fuck it, I don't care if I upset the bit. That's a midlife crisis, and you blow up as many things as you can because you're tired of lying. I think reinvention happens when you sell a company, lose a company, buy a company, certain age, you lose a person can cause reinvention of you. But if you don't make a designed reinvention, right? If you don't make, divorce, if you don't make a designed reinvention of yourself, you'll get caught in the void. I watch a lot of people that sell companies get so lost in the void. First, they go, I wonder if I'm worthy of doing it again. I only did it at a size. Could I do it more? I only did it in this business. Could I do it in another business? But is it possibility that someone could have a big win without having built strategic knowledge to do it again? Yes. Could they have had it on timing? Yes. They could have. They could have had a big win on timing, right? There's cycles in it. So maybe Maybe it was the digital age, so it was an easy time to be an agency or something. Maybe it was faster, right? Hey, Maddie, nice to see you. Maybe it was the digital age that did it. Maybe it was economic cycle. The demand was there. It was pre-demand. I mean, look, during COVID, like if you were a producer of masks, the demand was there. A lot of them made a lot of money on masks. I don't think they're making the same amount anymore because the demand's way down. So they jumped in on it. So sometimes it's based on the demand, but the cycle changes. And then you try to find your way through that cycle. What are you picking up from me? Tell me, what are you picking up from me? So your goal, your goal with wealth power is, and the reason why it says wealth power is because we want you to find power in you so you could get it, so you could get wealth, right? So this here, I'm not going to go through it now. I'm going to give it to you as an exercise to do as homework is I want you to work I want you to work through this and I want you to draw out and timeline your economic future, starting with now and where do you want to go? Now, remember, I think I said it yesterday. If we start down here and we say, I want to go here, and inside that economic, remember, we're talking wealth, not business. Business could be a component, but we're talking wealth. When we get to this landing here, we could say one part of wealth is business. Now, I didn't share this the other day, but every business that's been around a little while, or any business that has a good brand, is worth a tangible value. Through my history, there's been a couple of people came to me wanting to close up a business, and I said, "Don't do it. It's worth value to somebody." They didn't have the skill set to know that, but I did, and then they got value for it. So your business right now, if you have a decent brand or anything, is worth a tangible, it's an asset. And you should count that as that. And then you have another wealth vehicle, might be maybe that's your home. But that's your first wealth economic future. And I'm still, you guys know I said a bunch, that's where I would target. Then from there, I would go like this. And I think you used to be able to plan it on decades. I would plan your economic wealth on half a decades now. I would do it half a decades. The reason why I feel that a lot of people today want to, you're unlike if you go 70 years ago or 50 years ago, your dad and your grandpa and stuff like that, your grandfather, they probably, like, would you say they were pretty stable in their experiences? Like if I look at my dad over a 30-year, his last 30 years, not really, like, next to no change in him because generations didn't need all that change. They didn't need to do all the things we want to do today. Can you relate to that? Type in relate if you could relate. Like, look at your dad or your grand, like, probably no real change. My dad used to say, I am who I am. He was like Popeye, right? I am who I am, and that's all that I am. But I believe you guys change a lot. I believe the world changes a lot. I believe in 5 years, how many of you in the last 5 years, you made way better, not better, way different decisions on how you want to live, where you want to live, what you'll accept? A lot of you guys, right? My dad is a retired on 4 pensions. Pensions really don't even exist anymore. Yeah, yeah, right. So, but if you look at the 5 year cycle, are your children evolving faster or slower? Tell me in the chat bar. Are your kids evolving faster or slower? Is there a good chance? I mean, I don't know if my son could type it in or Morgan, how many times they moved. How many times have you guys moved, Morgan? Type it in the chat bar. But the younger generation, they're not looking to live third place. Michael's 26, Morgan's younger. 3 places. You guys, how many? There you go, 22. How many of you? She's 22. She's moved 3 times. How many of you have not moved in 2 decades? Tell me in the chat bar. Any of you? Yeah. Some of you haven't moved in decades. The younger generation? Fuck it. I'm bored. I'll go to Maine. Fuck it. I'm bored. I'll go to Virginia Beach. And guess what? That's perfect for them. And how many of you are watching how flexible your kids are to move? You're wondering what the hell, maybe you'll move too. Anybody? Tell me in the chat bar. You're like, shit. Me and my wife talk about it. I just haven't found a place. My wife and I haven't found a place where we could, yeah, Jennifer, right? You guys move. You made a big move, huge move down to Tennessee where you can now carry a gun and you don't have to worry about, if you leave the lawn sprinkler on and shit, right? Unlike California, rules for it. If you fart, there's a rule for it. How much gas could come out your ass or something. But today, you probably think about this. Man, why don't I, yeah, you're waiting for me to move over there. I just need to find a place and then I'll be like, man, pack it up. Let me and my wife, long as we can ride a bicycle, there's the water element we want, the temperature we want, and we don't think a storm's gonna fucking drown us while we sleep. We're all in on it. So that's why as you build out this, and I would include your significant other first if you have one. So I would say to your first, you always start here. You always start this. Because we're going into 2026, you start 2026. How do we want next year to go? Some of you heard it yesterday. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions just for me, Aaron, and my wife to ask each other. How do we want to? This is the thing to write down. Ready? Write it down. How do you want to do 2026? How do you want to do it? But then the next one, you go, okay, so we're clear on 2026. How do you want to do from 26 to 2030? How do you want it to be? How do you want it to be? And then you could say, well, what about after that? Now, some of you probably will just say, let's just stop right here for now. Let's design this with our wealth, our life, our family, our kids, and let's do this, and let's stop there. And that's good. And then before you get to 2030, you evaluate and say, where do I want to go? Now, a lot's going to change for a bunch of you between there because you're going to have wealth in between this. When you have more wealth and instead of less wealth, sit up, adjust your neck a little bit, breathe out. When you have more wealth and not less wealth, is there a possibility how you want to play the game of next year could change? Yeah. You might make some adjustments on it, right? The good thing is if you know wherever you want to get wealth from, and we want a diversified portfolio. I wonder if I could find it. I didn't build it in this agenda. Hang on, let me do this. Man, it might be hard to find. Let me see something here. Aaron, are you still on?
I'm always on.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Hey, Aaron, I used to have an example of a wealth map. Not my personal one.
Not your personal one.
See if
right,
you
let's see what I can
come
find here.
across
Yeah.
it at all.
Go on.
I'm going to see if I could show you guys something that some of you might have worked on years ago, but you probably haven't worked on it in a while. But I want to give you an example, if we could find it, of what it could look like for you with a wealth blueprint. If I can't find it, I'll see if I could dig up mine. if I could dig up mine and take out some of the private stuff on there and show you guys that. Okay, and show you guys that. All right, what I want you to do is look down at your notes a minute. Well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's start your timeline. I'm going to play a couple songs. I want to get your muscles at least moving on this. I want you to start just 2026 here. I want you to start mapping out your 2026. So let me clean this up a little bit for you guys. So you're just going to start. Don't do that. Okay. You're just going to start down here and you're going to do 2026. Okay. And this is your timeline of economic growth. So you're going to come over here and you're going to write, maybe part of your economic growth is going to be to scale the business. And then maybe off of that business, you're going to take 10% minimum from that business. It's going to go into a portfolio. And then that portfolio is going to scale money, right? And then maybe you'll do something with that money. So that's one part. Then you come down here and maybe all of you have a different type of, this is personal wealth, not company. Yeah, company revenue doesn't mean shit. So many owners aren't even fucking paying themselves enough, right? They're not even paying themselves. So, but if you're going to scale the business, you could put revenue there only if it's going to put money in your pocket, right? Only if it's going to put money in your pocket. And some of you aren't even doing that the best you can. You're paying taxes that you shouldn't need to pay. You're not taking profit. The worst thing you can do is have a business and not pay yourself. It's the worst thing you could do because it creates an internal mind problem. Can anybody relate to this? It actually it tells your mind that it doesn't support you. And it's very detrimental to that. Underpaying yourself is very detrimental out of your own business. Now that doesn't mean you have to take it every week. You might take it. I'll check it out, Aaron. You might take it at the end of the year as a disbursement, but you're still paying yourself. And you got to know, your brain wants to know that there's a reward for your action. When it knows there's a reward for your action, your brain keeps strengthening the neural pathways, so you'll keep getting more rewards. How many of you at one time you didn't get paid from your business, pay yourself, and you told a lot of people, yeah, I don't even pay myself. I don't pay myself enough. Tell me, true in the chat bar? When you did that, what did you reinforce? Now you're learning a different thing. So I hope you'll give me a boom in the chat bar. What do you think you reinforced in your brain every time you said, I don't pay myself? I don't take what I'm worth. I tell you, take what you're worth. And yeah, create scarcity. Create scarcity. Or they say, I take a paycheck, my wife doesn't. Okay, well, what do you think that creates for her? Right? What does that create? So you got business, maybe down here, you have real estate, right? And then maybe down here, you have a portfolio. Maybe that's stocks or whatever you guys have. Let me go look and see what Aaron sent me. I'm sure he found me something magical here. Oh, yeah. There you go, Aaron. Okay, so, all right, hang on a minute. If I show you my map, hang on one second. Morgan, I'm sending you a message in chat. If I show you my personal map, you're not going to go and show it all over the world. Can you put code of honor in the chat bar or what? It doesn't have all the numbers in it, but it has the infrastructure. All right. I'm trusting you guys. I'm trusting you guys. All right. So here, and this has some old things. So I wonder if I could put this on my, let me do this. Let me put it on my tablet so I could draw for you. this has some old stuff on it, and I'll point out what's old. Is it okay if I also tell you my mistakes I made, or do you guys want me just to go strap on a suit and tie and act like I never made a mistake like all the other fucking gurus out there? You want me to do that, or I could tell you my mistakes too? I'd rather tell you my mistakes because God knows I'm far from fucking perfect on anything at all. So I'd rather just share with you my own shit um that I did so you don't have to do it, right? But I hope you won't mock me for my mistakes either. Even though I won't be offended if you do. It's good. All right, here we go. Now you guys might have a smaller one